Okay, we're back, and we have my quilt top that I've been working on. Once you get your borders attached, your first two borders go on with a straight corner, and you measure your center top to bottom, side to side, and those are the measurements that you use to cut your first border. Once your side borders are on, then you'll measure your quilt again across, and that will be the length of your top and bottom borders. Don't cut them until you're ready to sew them on. So once you have the inner border and the middle border on, it talks about doing a mitered corner on the outer border, and for that you need to cut your border pieces at least as long as the quilt is going to finish, but longer. They believe they tell you to cut it a couple of inches longer, and that is the border fabric that you get several strips of from the length of fabric. So you will cut those and join them, and once they're attached, you line it up at the center and move out, so you do have an extra length. Now on this particular one, my borders, I'm going to miter all of them. So I built a border of 3 and attached the inner border to the quilt. And so now I've got all 3 borders, and I'm going to miter the corner. So you will line up your fabric evenly, and you take the corner of your quilt and fold it on a 45-degree angle, so that's a 45. You lay that flat, and then you line up your borders so that they're matching, and you can take a pin and just pin it in place, and you will take a ruler. I'm sorry, I forgot to get my ruler. Okay. Sorry, Paige is going to get that. Now, I will include instructions for the triple border with the written instructions that I have available that we can send out to you if you contact the store. So on your ruler, you will have a 45-degree line. Rulers will be set up differently, but you find your 45-degree line, and with your long edge of your ruler along the fold of your quilt, you will see that 45-degree line lines up with your border, either your seam or another piece in your border, and that will be your sewing line. You'll draw your line there and you'll stitch it. Once it's stitched, you will trim the seam allowance to 1/4 inch and then press it open. I have one here that has been stitched but not trimmed. So then that border will be trimmed along the stitch line. There, I'm getting director's messages here. So that's my stitching line. I'll trim that, and then another corner is here somewhere. You press it open. I think you can see the seam allowance is pressed open, and then you have the full border mitered. And when you're pinning your seam here, try and get your points matched, and you'll get a nice finish on that. So then that will finish off your quilt, and you'll be ready to layer it and quilt it. And then finally the binding, and that's another time you can use your stripology ruler to cut the strips, because there's quite a few strips to cut. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to do the stripology ruler technique, I guess. Thanks.